obviously there's a need for a company like yours to help walk people through the process, which is because it's not necessarily, uh, I mean, maybe it is simple, but for those of us that maybe we don't totally get it, what is the process like for a
Oh,
1031?
1031? Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great question, Daniel, because we have a certain process and certain rules that have to be followed. Otherwise, we don't have a successful exchange. So you need a qualified intermediary, and Investment Property Exchange Services, who I work for, IPX, or better known as IPX 1031. We're a nationwide qualified intermediary. It's all we do. And so you need a qualified intermediary, number one. And we have to actually really be process of part of the settlement process. And we create exchange documents. So on or before the closing, we have to set up exchange documents that our exchanger has to sign. And then once the closing settlement is completed, then those funds get wired over to us as our exchanger's qualified intermediary. And so when that starts the timelines, right, we got to move pretty quickly. The exchanger has 45 calendar days to identify what they're going to purchase, and then 180 days to actually close on the property, right? And they always have to want to look for buying a property equal or greater value to what they're selling for to be fully deferred. And they could buy for a lesser value, but then that difference is taxable. So key things are the timelines. And one of the unfortunate calls we get at our office sometimes is that, Claudia, I'd love to do a 1031 exchange. And I'll say, well, great, when's the closing? And guess what they say? Well, that was last week, right? And it's too late, unfortunately. So definitely really important, even before you get a contract on the property you're selling. You can always call a qualified intermediary. We're here to help you and kind of guide you through the whole process.
Right. So I'm buying another property to replace with a previous investment. Can I buy the replacement property first?
Ah, yeah. So great question. Majority of the exchanges we do um, is where you have to sell first. Money comes over to IPX, and then you buy.
Mm.
The thing is that we cannot, as an exchanger, own the sale property and the purchase property at the same time. It's got to be an exchange. But you could have a situation like you mentioned where someone needs to buy the replacement property before they sell. Sometimes they might have the perfect exchange set up. They're going to sell and then they're going to purchase, and maybe the sale property closing gets delayed and they have to buy the new one first. Or maybe you have a business owner that is wanting to buy a new, bigger location, but they can't have a stop in their business and they need to have that replacement property first and build it out.
Mm.
So what has to happen with these type of transactions? And by the way, right now we're doing almost four times the amount of, excuse me, four times the amount that we normally do in reverse exchanges, probably due to how the market is today. But we have to either park the property being sold or the property being purchased until our exchanger sells their relinquished property. You're probably thinking, how do you park a property, right? What I mean by that is we set up an LLC to take title to the property. Typically, it's the new one that we're purchasing, and we hold it for them until the relinquished property closes. The takeaway is that if anyone has that transaction or that kind of situation, you can call us as a qualified intermediary. We'll walk you through that whole process and how a reverse or a forward exchange works, or an improvement exchange if you want to use the funds to build on the property you're going to buy. So lots of opportunity out there.